and say thank you to everyone for being here. We have some VIP patients that have been with me for years. We have some returning patients that were here years back and just came back into the office. We have some newer patients with us this afternoon, and we do have some guests. I want to thank everybody for being here. The purpose of the workshops is to share information. We do these workshops every Wednesday at 6 o'clock, and we're starting to call them Wellness Wednesdays. And each week we have a different topic that's designed to help you get healthy and to stay healthy. Now, this is by no means, and the people that have been to workshops before, you know, this is not a chiropractic pep rally. This is not a sales pitch. These are practical classes that we do to help you become a better version of you. And if you're a guest here tonight and you don't buy into chiropractic, or maybe you don't think chiropractic is right for you, or maybe I don't think chiropractic is right for you, then that's okay. But the information that we share is still critical for you. And you know, one of the things that we're going to talk about during the course of the workshop tonight is all designed to you being a better person and a more responsible person, to be more accountable for what happens with your body. Now, in some respects, over the course of your life, ongoing maintenance, ongoing self-care, ongoing health-care is required to happen. Now, you might want to do that proactively, right, by brushing your teeth and combing your hair and getting your nails done, or you must do that reactively. Because if you don't take care of yourself, things will wear away, and over time, you're going to be forced to take care of yourself. So the topics that we talk about are designed to empower you to be more proactive and less reactive. For the newer patients that are new to our office, this is such an amazing thing for you, because this is how you're going to use our office moving forward. We didn't do this 4 or 5 years ago. And what I have found is that people like Barbara are unfortunately the exception to the rule. And there were so many people that started care around when Barbara started care that fell through the cracks after a while because we didn't empower them like we should. Now, Barbara's a sponge, right? You've been such a pleasure to take care of. You're going to see Barbara's testimonial in the book. And over time, I hope that every single person here is going to get a chance to share their success story, to share their testimonial. Not about chiropractic, but about the amazing healing potentials of their body. So we're all going to walk out of here in 30 minutes together, right? And you've heard me say this a couple of times so far, right? We all have the opportunity within the next 30 minutes to do one of two things. We can let our minds wander and disengage, or we can use our time wisely and empower ourselves to be much better people when we leave this office today. The topic for today is spinal workshops. Or excuse me, spinal. I'm thinking I'm doing it. The topic for today are spinal exercises, and I want to get started with that. Over the last couple of weeks, we've talked about a variety of different topics. We've talked about how to get well faster and how to stay well longer. Last week, we talked about stress busters, which is one of our best classes yet. We're going to do a couple of other classes on fibromyalgia and osteoporosis and biomechanics and being fit while you sit. And these are all classes that we offer to you complimentary. There's none of the admission fee for this. I don't bolt your feet to the floor and tell you you can't leave. These are open to all my practice members, to all the community, absolutely free of charge, because we feel that information is key. We live in such a sick society, and people need to get informed. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about a variety of different statistics. We talked about health in the United States. And if you had to guess who spends the most amount of money on the health of their citizens, who would you guess it is? What country? Any guesses?
United States.
United States, right? We, in the United States, we spend more money per person on healthcare. We spend about $4,600 per person in terms of healthcare. That means treating chronic diseases, managing different problems, infant mortality rates, managing those types of things. We spend $4,600 per person, so we invest money into healthcare with our citizens. So when we invest that money, what do you think we should be in terms of the ranking of health? Do you think we should be really low toward the bottom, or should we be up toward the top?
Where we should be, or where we
where
are?
we should be.
We should be up by the top.
We should be
where
up
we
by the
are
top.
is not.
True. So where are we, if you had a guess?
Oh, God.
At the bottom.
Do you think we're in the top 10?
No.
No.
Think we're in the top 20?
No.
Here's the answer. We rank 37th in the world in terms of the health of our citizens. And when we look at that number, the first thing that comes to my mind, I'm not sure about your mind, the first question that pops in my mind is, well, why? Right? If you think about it, we have such amazing hospitals, we've got the best universities, we bring in people from other countries into our states who are really the brightest minds in the world that we want to educate and empower to take care of our citizens, and this is what we get? Now, I'm a big baseball fan, I'm a big Yankee fan, and this would be like the Yankees spending all the money that they spend and finishing in last place every year. That's not okay. So, the question we come back to is here. Why? Why in the world is that happening? And the answer to that why is our approach. We have a reactive society and not a proactive society. When most of all of you started care here, we talked about when somebody has a pain or a problem, the first thing that we are trained to do from children is to do what? Is to look outside in, is to take a pill, to rub an ointment. And that's such a cultural way of looking at things. We're such a quick fix society, and we don't look at things from the other perspective. Now, other cultures, if you look in Korea, right now in Korea, it's probably tomorrow morning, there are 100-year-old people that are riding bikes to and from Tai Chi. True or false? That is a true statement. People in the Arctic that live longer, that have different dietary requirements, less stress, they're more proactive in terms of their health care. So if I can make just one change to anyone here tonight, I would challenge you. Don't pick 5 or 6 or 8 things that you like that you hear me say. Pick one thing that you like and implement it as part of your daily or weekly regimen. So how does this all tie into spinal exercises, right? And why am I talking about this concept first before diving into the body of our talk? Because spinal exercises, what most people do, is they do when they have a condition already, right? Has anybody ever heard of this before? I talked to someone about this before we got started.
Stenosis.
Stenosis.
Yes.
Who knows what it is?
Narrowing.
It's a narrowing. So if we cut me, oops, and you cut me this way, and you look down upon me, we should look at the spine. Right? There's the spine, the bones, and then here's the spinal cord, right here. When you have stenosis, the bone actually grows inward and chokes on the spinal cord, very similar to when you put a kink in a hose. Now this process, stenosis, is arthritis. And this process can go on for years before you feel the first what?
Pain.
Before you feel the first pain.
Yep.
Now when you have the pain, how long has the problem been there?
Years.
Years. So, and I say this with love, and I say this with kindness, and I say this with all due respect, but that is, when you start implementing exercises when this is already there, they can help. Don't get me wrong, they will help. But will it undo the arthritis?
No.
It won't. It will not. So the more proactive way of looking at this is implementing spinal exercises on a proactive basis, because it's important to take care of your spine always. Right? How many people here brush their teeth? Oh, please, right? I hope everybody raises their hand, right? Everybody here brushes their teeth. And I promise you that you don't do it when your teeth hurt. True or not true? You do it on a daily basis because healthy teeth are important. Healthy gums are important. Now, when you have a problem with a tooth, thankfully, there are such things as bridges and crowns, and my sister just had a whole gigantic implants and porcelain veneers, right? These are all things that you can do if by chance your teeth happen to wear away and fall out, and you eat too much chocolate or cookies. Those things will happen if you don't, right? But guess what? You only get one spine. I've never heard of a spinectomy. Right? I've heard of a heart transplant. Right? I saw a thing on TV the other day about an athlete who was an amputee with his leg, football player. They put on a prosthetic limb that looks like this. And he runs this way, in this direction,
Oh yeah, it's curved this way.
right?
Yeah,
He curved,
It's amazing.
and he's on the high school football team, and he's
Unbelievable.
great. He's a starting running back,
Unbelievable.
right? You can replace a leg, and this guy can do an amazing job. Yeah. But you only get one spine. You only get one. They can take discs in, they can put discs out, they can put in laminectomies, and they can do all sorts of fancy things, new vertebra, but you only get one spinal column. Now here's an important thing. Here's a vertebra. Here's a vertebra. When they do surgery on a spine, okay, and let's just say they put a plate here from level to level, it'll stabilize this segment, but above and below become what's called hypermobile. So they take all the brunt of the stress. And then in 4 or 5 or 6 years, guess what? Now you need one here, now you need one here. And surgery is okay from a reactive standpoint, but it does not correct anything. It doesn't do it. The tenets of our office is what? Is education, empowering knowledge to correct problems. Now we can do that technically and physically, but the biggest part of the impact we're going to make on you is going to be between your ears and the way you think about health and the way you think about your spine. And for the newer patients that are here this afternoon, I think that from now until we before we first met, there's a little bit of a dial switch happening, right? True or not true right now, where it's just amazing. Wow, and that's the favorite part of my job. I love that part of my job. So in terms of spinal exercises, we have a variety of different things that we can implement and empower you to do on your own. But I'll tell you what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to come to your house and sit by your bed and say, Bear, did you do those things before you went to bed? I'm not doing it. So it's a 70-30 relationship. Guess who's the 70? Right? You guys, it's on your end. And we're a team here. And the more I can count on you to be more proactive on your own, the better off you're going to go. So some of the things that we recommend in terms of exercises are the following. You must have completed 12 spinal adjustments. Well, why the heck do I say that? The reason is because if you exercise or stretch on an improperly balanced spine, what you're doing is you're actually building in the problem more. Most people don't know that. If I have a scoliosis, so a straight spine should look like this. If I have a scoliosis, it looks like this. My head's here, my rear end's here, right? And if I decide I want to start lifting weights above my head, how do you think that's going to impact this? It's going to weigh me down. If I start running on a spine that looks like that, Sarah, right? What happens to it? It wears away. Think about if you drive your car when it's misaligned. You get better or worse gas mileage? Worse. Do you get better or worse safety on the road? Can you control it better or worse? Worse. So then why would you align your car but not your body? So we have the opportunity to get 12 spinal adjustments to get the spine into a structurally aligned space so that when we do the exercises and when we do the stretches, now we're getting powerful. Now we're getting strong. Now we're making progress. So that's the first thing we recommend. You must have 12 spinal adjustments. The second thing we recommend is this. How often do you brush your teeth?
2 times a day.
3 times a day? Every day? Number 2, every day. Every day. The Olympics, right? When you see those Olympic athletes and they practice and practice and practice and practice, and they go over the fundamentals over and over and over. Not once a week, not once a month. The champions, the absolute cream of the crop in their field, every day, over and over and over, because it builds up strong people. It builds up strong bodies. Third thing we do. This is what we recommend. Twice a day. When you first wake up in the morning, it's a habit. Before your feet hit the floor, the first thing that should pop in your mind is, let's get my spine moving. And then last thing before you go to bed is let's calm my spine down, even it out, so I can be prepared to tackle the next day. Dental hygiene is important for your teeth the same way that spinal hygiene is designed for your body. Okay? Now, in terms of what stretches or exercises are right for me, is the next thing, or not me personally, but what's right for you? And that answer is different from every single person that's sitting here tonight. And what I did is I put 2 basic stretches, or excuse me, exercises on the sheet in front of you. The first one, Lauren, just remind me, it says neck isometrics. And the second one is, can you read it for me, Sarah? Say pelvic tilt.
Yeah, back exercises.
Okay, back exercises. The most common way a lower back or lumbar spine will become damaged, it's supposed to have a normal curve of 60 degrees. When it becomes damaged, when it is riddled with arthritis, when the bones start to wear away and soften, it starts to become more exaggerated. It's what we call sway back. If you've had a couple of children, you know the belly comes out this way and the spine does what? Annette? Right? What does the spine do? It starts to poke forward. Big heavy guys that come into this office, we see the same thing. The beer drinker football guys on Sundays, their spines are exaggerated. And what happens is that actually teaches your bones that exaggerated alignment is normal. And we know it's not. Reason being is because it puts extra stress on the discs that are here and it jams all of the vertebra back here. It creates a weakness. So when you're under stress, it affects you a whole lot more. Now the pelvic tilt, once we have an adjustment applied to the spine, the pelvic tilt takes the exaggerated curve back to a more normal and healthy alignment. So your body is better able to respond to stress. Maybe you work 12 hours on your feet in a hospital. Maybe you sit in a car and commute to the city for an hour one way or another. Maybe you're sitting at a desk answering phones all day in a spine like this. These are things that need to be taken care of, right? The other thing, in terms of the neck exercises, in our society right now, there is an epidemic. It's called text neck, right? Text neck. And you'll see it if you're sitting in the mall and you're spending time with your grandchildren, or maybe you're have a fit the next family party. If you're Jewish, you're going to celebrate this weekend and the next weekend. And you're going to see your teenagers, you're going to see your young adults that are all doing what?
Text.
They're here, right? And then when they're on their phones, they're here. And when they're looking at their iPad, they're here. And if they're students and they go to school, they study like this. And if they take exams, they're here. And if they go to a Capri cosmetology school, they're cutting hair, they're here. And maybe when they graduate, they get a job in a corporate entity where they do what? Here. So do you see how the spine is trained to do what? You know, we're de-evolving. You think about the caveman to the, now we're de-evolving. But our spine is a reflection of our habits. So if we spend so much time in different orientations this way, it's no wonder when we see people, a normal neck should have a 34-degree curve. And this would be if the person is looking in this direction. There's my artistic skills at their best, by the way. Most of the spines that we see here, the necks, are either straight, what we call a military neck, or they're actually reversed, where the head is way out here. And what do you think that does to the nervous system? But more importantly, the muscles. How many people do you see that do this? Oh, family parties, church gatherings, barbecues. We just had probably the last barbecue of the year, right? Unfortunately, this weekend. But the exercises that are here help to strengthen those muscles so you're much able to respond to stress. Lauren, would you pick up that testimonial book for me? I want to do an exercise. And Sarah, you're going to help me. Can you stand up, please?
Sure.
So what we're going to do is we're going to expand upon this for a second. Now, your head weighs about 10 to 12 pounds, right? So I want you to hold the testimonial book. So you're going to come take it from Lauren. I want you to put your palm up like this, and I want you to hold the testimonial book close to your body. So you see how the elbows bend. Okay. Easy or hard? Like you're delivering pizzas, right?
It's easy.
Okay, now, slowly but surely, I want you to move and extend your hand out until your elbow goes straight. What are you
It's
noticing?
a little harder.
What are you
It goes
noticing?
down, and then
Goes
I
down?
feel it in my shoulders
More
and
stress.
yeah.
So think about that in terms of your head being structured on your body. The more forward it comes, what kind of damage does it do to your muscles?
It
Tightens them, absolutely. You can go ahead and have a seat. Thank you for helping. So the exercises that we implement to people are going to be designed that once we've structurally adjusted the spine to reestablish this proper curve. Now, there is bad news with this, is that if you neglected the health of your spine for so long, and it's riddled with arthritis and osteoporosis in this disease, the bad news is we can never get back to normal. Once there's arthritic changes, we cannot change that. We can't take bone out or put bone in. That's why it's critical when you're in an early stage of spinal misalignments, only in phase 1, we can change it 100%. Now with these people, we can give them hope. There's absolutely hope. We can stabilize this, we can prevent it from getting worse, and we can help these people avoid more drug interaction, which we absolutely don't need in this society. We're the most drug society on the planet. Okay? So those are a couple of things. Now each person here has a condition that's different. No two spines are the same, no two DNA strands are the same, no two haircuts are the same, right? No two body types are the same. So each person here is going to get custom exercises and stretches for you as part of your care. Okay. How are we doing on time, Lauren?
I think got 10 minutes.
Beautiful. Now, every week at the conclusion of our workshops, we're going to wind down here in a couple minutes. We always like to be prompt. We're always on time. We're respectful of your time. I need to get home to see my son to put him to bed. He's starting school next week. God bless him. He's 3.5, so it's bittersweet for me. And I want to make sure that the time we spend together is treasured and it's important. And that when you leave here, you leave and say, "Wow, that was a really good investment of my time." He was respectful of the 30 minutes, and he gave me some real information to take home to my family. So every week we like to share an empowering story. We're at the close of our workshop. Any people have any questions, you can feel free to hang around. You can talk to me at the end. A couple of weeks ago we talked about my personal chiropractic testimonial, the story behind you. We talked about some other stories as well. Today I'm going to talk to you about a story that's really near and dear to my heart. And today I'm going to talk to you about a person, in my view, who's made a huge impact on a lot of different things. And it's a story of Uncle Dennis. Uncle Dennis was born in the 50s right here in Rockland County. And when he was trying to be born or trying to be birthed, the medical doctor wasn't present. So the nurse didn't know what to do, so she laid across his mother's legs, held her legs closed, and would not allow her to deliver the baby until the doctor showed up. And Dennis was stuck in the birth canal. He had suffered oxygen deprivation. It affected his brain, and he was born mentally retarded. And Dennis had a very challenging childhood. He couldn't use the bathroom on his own over time. He didn't walk like normal kids walk and talk like normal kids talk. And he never was able to learn how to feed himself, do his numbers, do his counting, and he suffered from severe seizures. And when the seizures were at their worst, he was having anywhere between 10 and 12 seizures a day. Has anyone here ever witnessed a seizure?
Yeah.
Is it one of the scariest things you've ever seen?
Mm-hmm.
It's really, really scary. And for a parent with a brand new, precious newborn, you can imagine the mark on mom and dad's heart when that happened. And the medical bills were bad, so dad had to have a couple of jobs to pay for it. And over the course of the years, they were able to make ends meet and to take care of Dennis. And when Dennis got older, he became stronger and he became faster. And he didn't really know much about proper social etiquette and whatnot. So one of the things that Dennis used to do is the second the door was open, he would run away. And they lived on a busy street, and there was a concern about him getting, God forbid, hit by a car. So this mom had 3 other children, so she still had to do the laundry and mop the floors and take care of the kitchen and food. It's back in the 50s, so it's no chivalry, there kind of thing. So you get the idea. And things had gotten so bad that she decided when she brought Dennis outside, they had to hook him to the clothes hanger. And you can imagine how heart-wrenching that is for the mother to do. I mean, treating the child almost like a dog or a canine. But she had no other choice to prevent him from running away. So one day the neighbor next door was out trimming the hedges, and she looked over the fence and she noticed Dennis was tied to the clothes hanger. And she said to the woman, she said, it's probably none of my business, but it looks as if your son could use some help. Have you ever thought about taking your child to a chiropractor? And this is back in the 50s when chiropractors were looked at with, you know,
Get it?
right, true or not true. And this mother was so desperate for some degree of release that she said, look, I'm ready to try anything. And she took Dennis for an adjustment, and she took him for another adjustment. They found a chiropractor actually an hour away. So they were driving an hour, getting Dennis adjusted and coming back home. And after a series of adjustments, Dennis's seizures went away. And they brought Dennis home, and the mother was making dinner, and she turned away, and Dennis had picked up a spoon and started to feed himself. And it was such a miracle that Dennis's father decided to, at 43 years old, move from New York to Iowa and become a chiropractor. And this is before Route 80 was built, so you can imagine how long it took him. And the reason why I tell this story is because Dennis is my wife's uncle, and my wife is a chiropractor here. And Dennis has created such a profound mark on our hearts and our ability to help people. And the reason why I share the story with everyone here tonight is not to sound boastful, but it's to empower you. The most important person in that entire story was who? It was the neighbor. Because she saw something and she said, you know what? That's not okay. And she said something. And it made a tremendous, profound impact on not only Dennis's life, but now there are 13 chiropractors in that family, my wife being one of them. And my wife has put her hands on thousands of different people, many of them children, many of them newborns. Our youngest patient was 7 weeks old. And I promise you that baby did not come in with sciatica going, whoa, my back hurts. It was because there was pressure on the nervous system that needed to be released so the body can do its job, which is to miraculously heal itself. So I want to thank everybody for being here. Before we finish up for tonight, what I want to do, Maria, next to you, you're going to see an eye care card. And I want you to take one, and I'd like you to pass one around. And just like in Dennis's story, where the neighbor was smart enough and informed enough to see something and say something, I'd like you to think about someone that you know that could benefit from a checkup. Now, I'm not saying they need care, I'm not saying we can help them, I'm not even going to say that I want them in my practice or they want to necessarily be in my practice, but it's the smart thing to do that if someone is hurting, is to simply get in what? Just check. Just simply check. So every week we talk about different things that we can help people. We can do one of 4 basic things. Is if you know someone that's in need, we can simply put them on our prayer list. And we just put it out to the universe, we say a prayer to that person, and put good healing vibes out to them. If that's okay with you, that's fine. We can send somebody a letter on your behalf. We can make a courtesy phone call with me over the phone just to see if there's anything I can do to help. Or the last thing we can do is if you know someone that needs to get informed, invite them to a workshop. It's the easiest thing to do. It's 30 minutes once a week. We have all different topics that are designed to empower people to get them to stay healthy. So I'm going to give everyone a minute to take care of those sheets of paper.